If you've played GTA 5, you must have noticed several connections, dialogues, and references between the two games, from companies and locations to characters who came from Liberty City to Los Santos, but arrived here in a similar way or sometimes completely different. In today's video, I'll do my best to point out everything that happened between the story of GTA 4 and its DLCs that take place in 2008 to GTA 5 that takes place in 2013 in another state, which is no longer in Liberty City. The focus of the video will be a little more on characters and gangs since there isn't much else besides that. I also won't talk about the characters from GTA 4 that appeared in GTA Online, as some of them appeared much later. But soon I intend to bring a very complete video with all the characters, quotes, and references from GTA 4 that appear in GTA 5 and GTA Online, okay? So with that said, if you enjoy the channel, leave a like and subscribe, and let's get started. The first thing that happens between 2008 and 2013 that I think those who played at least the DLCs of GTA 4 noticed was the big difference there with the Lost MC gang. I'll talk more about the characters separately later, but first I'll give a sneak peek here talking about the gang, right, which is the motorcycle gang The Lost that was really cool in Alderney, Liberty City in 2008 and also appears in Blaine County in 2013. In 2008, under the leadership of Johnny Klebitz, The Lost had some conflicts like the law with Billy Gray and such, like Billy Gray versus Johnny, and also had some external conflicts against the Angels of Death that don't appear in the final GTA 5 but appear in the beta. And after GTA 4, The Lost migrated to the west around 2013 or maybe a little earlier, I'm not really sure. And then when they settled in that location, they got involved in the local methamphetamine trade. Johnny leads this chapter, but the gang is much weaker compared to what it was in GTA 4. They form an alliance with Trevor. Initially, Trevor sold drugs to them, but eventually, as soon as Trevor is introduced in GTA 5, Trevor kills Johnny and practically exterminates the Lost from Blaine County. There are other Lost still around, other divisions of the Lost in Los Santos, but this one is greatly weakened. During the mission Nervous Ron, Trevor also attacks an airport where some Lost members are operating. In the GTA 5 beta, because you can see in the trailers, instead of the Lost being there, it would be the Angels of Death, who also appeared in GTA 4, the Lost and Damned. They are the biggest rivals of the Lost MC in Liberty City, and they had a lot of conflicts in the game. However, for a reason that I can't quite understand, the Angels of Death were removed from the final version of the game, so I think that this way we can assume that after GTA 4 they weakened a lot and decreased. The Lost MC grew significantly and ended up moving to Los Santos, Blaine County. In terms of gangs, these were basically the two main ones. Now we are going to talk about characters, and I will try to explain with as much detail as possible what may or may not have happened in the meantime. First of all, we're going to talk about Niko Bellic, who is the protagonist of GTA 4. Niko doesn't physically appear in GTA 5, but he is referenced in a canonical way. During the jewelry heist planning mission, Lester mentions him as a guy from Eastern Europe making a name in Liberty City who disappeared. And Packy McCready, who I'm also going to talk about, he also mentions Niko during the Paleto Bay heist, saying that he lost contact with him after leaving Liberty City, and he presumes that maybe Niko is dead. However, I strongly believe that Niko is not dead. He is alive now. He's just, hidden in peace. This is because in GTA 5 there is also Niko's profile on the social network Life Invader, which indicates that he is alive in 2013, possibly working as a driver or a general assistant at Roman's taxi company, of which he is probably also a partner. And then he is connected with Roman, Mallory, Little Jacob, Bruce, and so on. You can see this on Jimmy's notebook at a moment when Jimmy is looking there. You can't see it 100%, right? Because the image is not so clear, but from what you can notice this time when you arrive at Jimmy's house and he is messing with the notebook, and there is Niko Bellic's profile. This basically suggests that he is alive working there with Roman and so on, and leading a very peaceful life. In GTA 5 there is no direct mention of Niko's final whereabouts. No one exactly says what happened to him, but still in GTA 5 there is a wanted poster with Niko Bellic's face that is very hidden there. Lester also, at the moment he talks about Niko, he says that the guy disappeared and all.
There was an Eastern European guy making moves in Liberty City, but he went quiet.
Packy McCreary presumes that Niko is dead.
And another boy, Niko.
And by the end of GTA 4, I presume Niko stayed alive, because it would have been very hard for someone to kill him. The guy was really tough, but he chooses to stay low-key now and lead a quiet life, away from the world of crime. Roman Bellic, who is Niko Bellic's cousin, is one of the most important characters in GTA 4, and he is also kind of confirmed as alive in GTA 5 because in that Life Invader image of Niko Bellic, Roman is listed as a relative there, implying that Roman survived, which says about the canonical ending of GTA 4 where Roman lives and marries Mallory. Roman is not mentioned anywhere in any dialogue of GTA 5, but only there in Niko Bellic's Life Invader image. You can assume that he is running the taxi service operation in Liberty City in the same way he used to. Now let's talk about one that many people know the tragic ending of, which is Johnny Klebitz. Johnny Klebitz is the protagonist of the GTA 4 DLC The Lost and Damned, but he returns in GTA 5 with the most tragic fate of all. He led the Alderney chapter of the motorcycle gang The Lost in 2008 after the internal war against Billy Gray. In the end, Johnny becomes the president of the Lost MC, at least of that division of the Lost MC. However, in GTA 5 we find out that the Lost have moved to Blaine County around 2013, but this time, unfortunately, Johnny is addicted to methamphetamine, influenced probably by his girlfriend Ashley, who caused a lot of trouble in GTA 4, and this time Johnny is also involved with Trevor Phillips. One thing that is very important to make clear about Johnny, I don't know when, okay? But this happened between 2008 and 2013. Johnny ended up being demoted from his position because at the end of the Lost and Damned DLC, Johnny appears with the president's jacket. But when we see him in GTA 5 after Trevor kills him, or even during the cutscene, you can notice that Johnny's jacket now says that he is vice president, probably due to this historic downfall of his. Since he was a very tough guy and now he is a very weak guy, he lost the position of president and became vice president and kind of accepted it because his main focus was that Ashley wouldn't betray him or something like that. Ashley Butler, who is Johnny's girlfriend in the DLC The Lost and Damned, appears in GTA 5 in the cutscene of the mission Mr. Phillips. She's really messed up, heavily addicted, like really messed up. I think her state is worse than what we see there in 2008, and at the end of the game in 2008, she kind of promises Johnny that she'll leave that world between 2008 and 2013, but not only does she come back to that world, but she also ends up dragging Johnny back into it. And that's what ultimately led to Johnny's death at the beginning of the game. Ashley also dies in 2013, even if you decide not to kill her in the mission Mr. Phillips. She ends up dying, a victim of her addiction, overdosing while having an orgy with a bunch of old men. This is reported both in Weasel News and also appears on a page in the game. Now talking about a character that I really liked in GTA 4, especially in the original version. He also appears in The Ballad of Gay Tony, but I prefer him in the standard GTA 4, which is Bruce Kibbutz. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, he is a gym addict who has a very strong yet indirect presence. Up until 2008, Bruce was known for his use of steroids and such, and he had a luxury car company. He also became a great friend of Niko during some missions. In GTA 5, he doesn't physically appear in the 2013 version, but later on he appears in some GTA Online DLCs. However, in 2013 he is already mentioned, and he has a website where you can see that he has become the spokesperson for a product called Bull Shark Testosterone, which is commercially sold. There are several ads throughout Los Santos online and posters in some places. So all of this confirms that after 2008, Bruce continued alive, survived everything he went through, and even thrived because he becomes a much cooler guy as seen much later. I think in the DLC that came out in 2019, which was the Casino DLC, he appears on in-game social networks like he makes posts on Bleeder and so on, and he would also have a mission in the beta version of GTA 5. In fact, I made a recreation of this mission. I'll even leave the recommendation of this video on the final screen for you guys, but I believe that, can't be sure just to make it clear, but I believe that maybe he was already in Los Santos at that time, or he was still in Liberty City but already with one foot preparing to go to Los Santos, because he had this mission that would take place in Los Santos and for some reason ended up being removed from the beta version. Now, unlike the good fate that Bruce had, we have two characters who had terrible fates, which were Terry and Clay Simmons, who were Johnny's friends, senior members of the Lost MC from the 2008 version. One of them was the Sergeant at Arms and the other was the Road Captain. Terry and Clay appear in GTA 5 in the mission Mr. Phillips after Johnny dies. When Trevor confronts them after Johnny is killed, Trevor ends up provoking them, leading them to flee on motorcycles to warn the rest of the gang during the mission, you as a player playing as Trevor, you can kill them. And it's kind of canonical, this death, because killing them along the way until you get there and just following the van is one of the objectives you have to fulfill to get the gold medal in this mission. So the death of these two characters is unfortunately canonical. This practically annihilates all the leadership of the original chapter of the Lost MC that we saw in Alderney in 2008. Both Johnny and Ashley and two very strong members who were loyal to Johnny fall all at once. Another character from GTA 4 that appears in GTA 5 is Agent ULP, who until then passed some missions to Niko. He recruits Niko for some espionage and counterterrorism missions within GTA 4, and this character also appears in GTA 5 working for the same agency, which is the IAA. From what I understood, he kind of didn't get promoted. I think he's still in the same position, but it's hard to be sure. He also appears in some missions in GTA GTA Online, but in GTA Offline, which is the GTA you play in 2013, you can see that he is very strong and focused on the corruption battle between the IAA and the FFIB. He appears a few times in 2013, so I think not much has changed from one to the other. I think the only thing that really happened is that maybe he changed sectors. He worked in Liberty City and now he went to work in Los Santos, but most likely in the same position. There's nothing to indicate that he was promoted or demoted. However, there is another character from GTA 4 who rose through the ranks during the period of 2008 and 2013, which is Michelle, Niko's ex-girlfriend, or Karen Daniels as some people already know. Karen first appears in GTA 4 as Michelle, and she enters as a disguised girlfriend there to deceive Niko. We see that she is a field agent basically following orders. She obeys because it's kind of the way, it's the only way she has to grow and fight crime. You can see that she is a field person. In GTA 5, we see her inside the IAA building for the first time interrogating Mr. K, and there it clearly seems, at least from my point of view, that now she is a more important agent. In other words, Karen, after 2008, has risen in the government career and continues to operate behind the scenes of the IAA. She is no longer a field agent. Now she is very close to what Agent ULP is. Now, talking about another DLC from GTA 4, The Ballad of Gay Tony, we have the character Anthony Gay Tony Prince, who is one of the central characters of this DLC. Tony Prince was the owner of the nightclubs Maisonette 9 and Hercules in Liberty City. In GTA 5, this character does not appear or is mentioned in 2013, okay? Later on, he will appear in some GTA Online DLCs, so everything suggests that Tony survived the events of 2008, where he escaped from the Ancelotti and the Russians, and after a few years, he decided to expand his business to the West Coast. It is not confirmed whether he sold his nightclub chain to Yusuf Amir, I think that's how it's pronounced, because this guy had a lot of interest in his nightclub chain for expansion, among other things. It is not confirmed whether this happened or not, but it is confirmed that this guy is still alive, and even though he didn't go to Los Santos in 2013, he ends up going later on, so it kind of implies that everything worked out. Speaking of this same DLC, we have the protagonist Luis Fernando Lopez, or Luis Lopez as most people know him, who is the protagonist of the Ballad of Gay Tony DLC. Luis also does not appear physically in GTA 5, and he is not directly mentioned except in GTA Online, so it is understood that after the events of 2008, after defeating Bulgarian and saving his boss, Tony Prince, Luis presumably continued with his life in Liberty City. GTA 5 does not bring any clues of change other than that, and since Tony Prince reappears in GTA Online much later, this kind of means that Luis ended up taking care of business in Liberty City so that Tony could have time or space to move to Los Santos. Furthermore, there is also no indication of Luis's death, so everything seems to have worked out for him and he continued working. A character who appeared a lot in GTA 4 and also in GTA 5, not only in the 2013 version but also in the online, was Patrick McCready. He is a member of the McCready family in Liberty City. He physically returns in GTA 5, he stops being just a reference in 2013, and now he lives in Los Santos. He appears for the first time in a random event. You can choose to help him escape from a robbery or not. The canonical part is to help him since he later appears in GTA Online alive, so this kind of confirms that the choice was to save him. And when you do that, he becomes a member of the heists available, and you can hire him for other heists. When you hire him, you have dialogues and several mentions during missions about what happened in Liberty City. After 2008, he talks a little about his brother, about other members of the heist, and also about Niko Bellic.
Junior high? What is interesting is my biggest job, the Bank of Liberty City.
Ah, shit, yeah. I heard you were part of the crew that took that down.
I ran the crew. It was me, my brother Derek, God rest his soul, my pal Michael, God rest his soul, and another boy, Niko, who's probably dead too.
They're all dead. Must have been jinxed, huh?
These lines confirm that Packy's brother, Derek McCready, died at some point before 2013, that is, between 2008 and 2013, due to the events of GTA 4 or not, because there are different endings. Anyway, several options that you can do in GTA 4, and that Packy carries guilt and misses his old partners. In addition to Derek, there is another character that is also mentioned, which is Jerry McCready, or Gerald as he is also called. He remained imprisoned after 2008, and possibly he is still serving his sentence there in 2013. He is not directly mentioned in GTA 5, but this is kind of implied. And Packy's other brother, Francis McGrady, is not mentioned in GTA 5 since his death is optional in GTA 4. So I think the guys didn't want to say if it was canonical or not, and that kind of remained open. Moving on to a character in GTA 4 that almost no one paid attention to. She appeared a bit more in GTA 5, but only during secondary missions. We have Marnie Allen. Marnie was a drug addict that Niko helped her in 2, or was it 3 random encounters from GTA 4, giving her a bus trip to the Midwest West, and then you don't really know what happened to her after that. However, in GTA 5, Marnie returns as a member of the Epsilon cult, and then when Michael gets involved in the middle of this cult, Marnie appears clean from drugs and such. She was really bad in GTA 4. She is well dressed now and serving as a guide for him within the cult's missions. Marnie mentions that she had drug problems in the past, which kind of confirms that she is the same Marnie that Niko saved in 2008. However, now in 2013, Marnie found her salvation in the religion of Chris Formage. This shows that somehow Marnie managed to get out of drugs, most likely using religion as her next focus to have enough strength to leave drugs behind. It's like she found a new fanaticism, this time with Epsilon, to be able to overcome her drug addiction. A very important character that also appeared in the GTA 4 DLCs and appeared quite a bit in GTA 5 was Rocco Pelosi. Even though many people may not know him, Rocco Pelosi was part of the Ballad of Gay Tony as a mafia associate to the Ancelotti family. Rocco appears in GTA 5, but in 2008 he was a henchman for the Ancelottis. Basically not just a henchman, I think he was a guy a little stronger. And he was the one extorting Tony Prince. At the end of the Ballad of Gay Tony, Rocco flees from Liberty City and has Luis spare his life. And then in GTA 5 we find out that Rocco took refuge in Los Santos. Maybe he didn't go straight to Los Santos, but between 2008 and 2013 some things happened that led him to go there. He maintains certain ties with the Ancelottis and tries to pull off some scams in Vinewood, extorting for example Solomon Richards in a similar style to what he did in the Ballad of Gay Tony, but then Michael ends up catching him. And unlike Luis and Tony Prince in 2008, Michael doesn't forgive and sends him to meet his maker. And the last character that I consider important to mention from GTA 4 to GTA 5 that something happened in this period is Laszlo. Laszlo, if I'm not mistaken, he appeared in all GTA since the 3D era, I'm not sure, but when I say that he appeared, it's not physically, okay, but as a radio host and everything else. And one last thing that happened between 2008 and 2013 was the modernization or technological arrival, I don't know how I can explain this, of all the other social networks. Basically in GTA 4 we had their social networks My Room and Spacebook, which was kind of a parody of MySpace, My Room, and Spacebook was kind of the beginner Facebook. However, in GTA 5 now with the arrival of smartphones and etc., since there were no smartphones at the time of GTA 4, what became much stronger was Bleeter and Life Invader. Life Invader is like a very enhanced version of Facebook. Bleeter already existed in GTA 4. If I'm not mistaken, there were some NPCs who claimed they bled. They bleed about events like the fall of the museum there in GTA 4, the Ballad of Gay Tony, but it's not very in-depth. In GTA 5, there is a complete Bleeter website that is kind of a parody of Twitter as well, the iFind, that in GTA 4, I think it was iFind.info, which was kind of the game's Google. It also existed in GTA 4, and in GTA 5, it continues in the same way, just now in a more structured way. In GTA 4 it had like an older version, and in GTA 5 it's just more modernized. The Weasel News is basically the same thing. Like in GTA 4 it was a radio and TV news, and in GTA 5 it remains the same. If I'm not mistaken, even on the Weasel News website it says that it has news from Liberty City, Los Santos, and Blaine County. So most likely we can assume that before it was only from Liberty City, and then the operator grew and expanded and so on. Other than that, there aren't many things that we can know that happened between the two games because there aren't many mentions about it. So what we can know is more about characters, gangs, or things that existed in GTA 4 that appeared in GTA 5, but in fact things that happened between one period and another. There isn't much to know because they are different states and cities, but it's cool, for example, to know what happened to the gangs and so on. If you want to know what happened between 1992 and 2013 on Grove Street and how the Ballas took over families' territory before GTA 5, click here next to the yellow arrow to watch this amazing video with a clear explanation of how Grove Street families went from the top to the bottom. That's it guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe. Until the next video then, a hug, and until the next video,